Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 1, Outcast Boy. Konoha is 52 years old. The lively and bustling Konoha street is full of people coming and going. The Nine Tails Rebellion 4 years ago brought heavy losses to Konoha. Countless ninjas died, and many families lost their parents and children. Even the top powerhouse who made great achievements in the battlefield, the fourth Hokage, died because of sealing Kyubi. For the villagers of Konoha, that night was a night of disaster. For years have passed, and the village has regained its vigor and vitality. But the pain of the past has not been forgotten. Instead, it is hidden in everyone's heart and will explode at any time like a time bomb. They hated the nine-tailed demon fox and wished they could swallow it alive. At this moment, Naruto Uzumaki, the nine-tailed demon fox in their eyes, walked into the street. Wearing a neat white robe, he behaved elegantly and confidently, with a gentle smile on his face, like a handsome young man. This kind of temperament and appearance are touted wherever they are placed, but they are not welcomed by the villagers. Most of the villagers froze, a trace of disgust flashed in their eyes, they turned their heads and stopped looking. A small number of villagers cursed in a low voice, "Damn nine-tailed demon fox. Why isn't this monster dead yet? It's that monster. My son died because of him. I don't understand why Hokage-sama didn't execute him. This needless kindness is disgusting. Shoo, do you still dare to question Hokage's actions? He must have had some consideration in making such a decision. In addition, there will be very few people who will nod slightly to this small figure. Although there is not much kindness on their faces, at least there is no malice." Naruto Uzumaki came to a familiar vegetable stall and asked softly. "Sorry to bother you, Mama Tanaka, I want to buy some vegetables." Unlike those villagers whose families were crippled by the Nine Tails Rebellion, Aunt Tanaka had just moved to Konoha a year ago, so she couldn't empathize with the villagers' pain. She was impressed by Naruto Uzumaki, a well-mannered kid. Although he is only 4 years old, he has the maturity of an adult. Aunt Tanaka vaguely remembers the first time she saw Naruto. At that time, the villagers threw rotten eggs and all kinds of rotten vegetables at Naruto Uzumaki. The thin boy didn't dodge, let the egg liquid bloom on his body, still kept a gentle smile on his face, and kept bowing towards the surroundings. "Apologize. I'm sorry, Nine Tails caused you so much pain in the past, I'm sorry, but I am Uzumaki Naruto now, I am not Nine-Tailed Demon Fox." Repeating such words in his mouth, under the endless malice, the little figure is so helpless, but at the same time he still maintains politeness. The viciousness of life places children who should have had childhood in a cruel reality. Vicious words tempered his will. Make him grow into a little adult. Aunt Tanaka heard before that Konoha is the richest and most humane village among all shinobi villages. But everything she saw was far from what she knew. A 3-year-old kept bowing and apologizing. It's painfully humble. The surrounding villagers all showed ugly mouth corners. He lashed out at the child with vicious words that he had never thought of. This scene was imprinted in Aunt Tanaka's mind for a long time. From then on, she will always secretly take care of Uzumaki Naruto. Take it and go. She stuffed a bag of vegetables into Uzumaki Naruto's arms. "Thank you, I'm sorry to bother you." Uzumaki Naruto put away the bag, thanked Aunt Tanaka, and then crossed the street without haste, disappearing from everyone's sight. With the departure of Uzumaki Naruto, the street returned to its former laughter. Cross the street and return to your own dwelling. At the age of 3, Naruto couldn't stand the babysitter's petty actions, and moved to a new home to live alone after discussing with the third Hokage. The new home is not big, only a bed, a table and a simple stove. But it has met all the needs of Naruto for life. Open the bag, besides fresh vegetables, there are some eggs inside. I believe that Aunt Tanaka has already prepared the bag before, just wait for yourself to come. In this indifferent village, this love is extra precious. The corners of Naruto's mouth curled into a gentle arc, he got up and came to the stove, holding a kitchen knife and gracefully flung out beautiful cuts. Cutting vegetables, heating oil in a wok, and frying vegetables, a set of actions are done in one go, flowing smoothly. The biggest difference between a wise man and a barbarian is that they behave elegantly and confidently, unlike barbarians who only bark. Simple stir-fried vegetables and fried eggs come together in no time. Naruto sat down at the table and quietly enjoyed his dinner. The disgust and rejection of the villagers will not affect his mood. He will always maintain a polite personality until he is accepted by all villagers. While enjoying the dinner, Naruto's thoughts drifted further and further away. I vaguely remember the past. These villagers would attack themselves with the most vicious words whenever they took to the streets. At that time, I was helplessly escaping and fearful. My heart is full of puzzlement. I obviously didn't do anything, why everyone hates me. So he started playing silly pranks. Trying to get everyone's attention by grandstanding. Unexpectedly, the method of Yu reading www.yuukeungshu.com made the villagers loathe themselves even more. Even those who used to just look at each other with indifferent eyes began to speak ill at each other. During that time, I fell into despair, almost living like a year. Until I saw Mr. Aizen himself. That gentle and refined man who always maintains his demeanor. That's what he told himself. Be a wise man in control of the overall situation and control your own destiny. A strong man never humbly begs for attention. From then on, he began to imitate Aizen, trying to be gentle and graceful. He used all his living expenses to order a white robe of the same style, for which he also ate instant noodles for several months. He greeted everyone politely, and even when they cursed in return, he kept smiling. He has learned to hide his emotions. Up to now, although the attitude of the villagers is still not good, at least some people have greatly improved their views on themselves. Life made him mature, and malice made him see the reality clearly. My village and the so-called Will of Fire are not open to themselves. I am just a nine-tailed demon fox. Thinking of this, the corners of Naruto's mouth suddenly curled up in a mocking arc. The pattern of Konoha is too small. I should have reached a higher level like Mr. Aizen. Naruto finished the last bite of vegetables, stood up, his eyes were slightly sharp and unkind. But such eyes flashed by, and the next moment, the gentleness of the past was restored. Put on a flawless smile in the mirror. Muttering to himself. My smile is perfect now, I have to keep it up. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 2, Encounter with Aizen. Naruto still remembers the first time he met Aizen. At that time, he was ending a miserable day when several children from the same village teamed up and beat him up. He dragged his bruised body back to the hut, had a meal of instant noodles, wiped his body casually, and was ready to sleep. Naruto discovered the difference between himself and ordinary students when he was young. No matter how bad the injury is, the bruises on the body will disappear the next day, and the physical strength will also recover. This also means that he is not an ordinary person. Perhaps, as the villagers said, he is the nine-tailed demon fox. With complicated thoughts in mind, he fell into a deep sleep. Immersed in consciousness, being sucked into a mysterious space. Ding dong. The sound of dripping water woke Naruto up. He opened his eyes in confusion, and what he saw was a dark and cold basement. Where is this? Naruto asked confused. Obviously he was still sleeping, but the next moment he came to a strange space. Is anyone there? He yelled, his voice echoing in the space. Relying on the dim light, Naruto groped forward, the cold air made him hug his arms, his eyes filled with fear. Soon, he fumbled to an iron gate. There is a seal on it. Through the dim light, a figure appeared. Wearing a white robe, brown curly hair, a gentle smile that is always confident, and a pair of unpredictable eyes hidden under the glasses. Aizen. Full name, Aizen Soyasuk, from the world of death, the former captain of the 13th team of Goodei, the 5th division, who later betrayed the world of souls and became the ruler of the virtual circle. On the surface, he is elegant and gentle, but in reality he is cold and ambitious. He has only one goal, to surpass death and pursue supreme power. He regards everyone around him as pawns that he can manipulate at will. After gaining supreme power, he became even more conceited and arrogant, defeating the gods of death one after another who blocked his way. But in the end he was defeated by Kurosaki Ichigo, who was trained as Moonless, and was imprisoned in the deepest hell. This is Aizen's original life, but now he is still the powerful and polite captain of the 5th team in the Shinigami team. In the sealed space, facing the bewildered Naruto, Aizen adjusted his glasses, his brown eyes flickering non-stop. I don't know when it started, every time he fell asleep at night, his consciousness would come to this dark space. There will be a light curtain in front of you, in which are bits and pieces of Naruto Uzumaki's life. In this way, Aizen watched Naruto's life from the sidelines, was controlled by high-level officials, was bullied by the villagers as a demon fox, and suffered all kinds of indifference and malice. With Aizen's wisdom, he soon understood that Naruto was a terrifying force for Konoha's senior management. In order to control Naruto, they made Naruto a nine-tailed demon fox hated by all villagers, so that they could become Naruto the Light. This is a very low-level brainwashing method. Call it clumsy. Naruto, who grew up in this environment, can easily develop hatred towards the village, and even go berserk. But what's incredible is that Naruto didn't hate Konoha, and even aspired to become Hokage. Hokage is the name of a ninja village leader. What Aizen knows about Naruto is just the tip of the iceberg in the entire ninja world, and he is full of interest in this unknown world. Before, he had persecuted Mako Hirako, the former captain of the 5th Division, and turned him into an experiment of the illusion of the God of Death, in order to find the possibility of breaking through the power of the God of Death. Now, he wants to learn the secrets of the ninja world through Naruto's perspective, and find the power to surpass the of death. In this world, there is no world of corpses and souls, no of death, let alone the power system of the world of death, Ryatsu. In its place are ninjas and chakras. Each ninja can use chakra to use ninjutsu with different attributes. It's a pity that Naruto has never seen ninjutsu used. Aizen understands. Uzumaki Naruto's level is not enough. Or, when he grows up, he will be able to get in touch with mysterious ninjutsu. For now, Aizen is more curious about ninjutsu than desire. But this is the system of another world after all, and there must be many places worth exploring and understanding. Naruto, as Aizen's eyes, needs to grow up properly. So Aizen showed the elegant appearance that he had been pretending to be all along. He greeted Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto, I finally see you. You know me? Naruto was surprised. Of course, you like instant noodles, hate drinking expired milk, and hate everyone's hostile eyes, and want to become Hokage. Aizen's voice was full of magnetism. I know you better than you think, and I care about you, Naruto. The phrase, I care about you very much, immediately made Naruto's eyes wet. Except for 3 generations of grandpas, this is the first person who treats him like this. No, this Mr. Aizen understands himself better than 3 generations of grandpas. By the way, my name is Aizen Soyasuke, you can call me Aizen. Meeting Aizen was easy. He illuminates the world of Naruto like a ray of light. With the help of Aizen, Naruto began to read books and try to think independently. Sometimes what your eyes see isn't real. Why do you, who are regarded as a 9-tailed demon fox, have a human body? Why are you so weak that even children can be bullied? Every world has its own rules, and you will be bound by the rules when you live in this world. Konoha is an umbrella for you, but it is also a place that restricts you. Will you choose to abide by the rules or jump out of the rules and become the maker of the rules? At that time, Aizen always spoke incomprehensible words with deep eyes. Naruto didn't understand at first, but now, he also began to try to think. How to break away from the essence of events to see the truth. How to understand the situation you are in, you reading www.yuukangshu.com and make the most perfect response. Naruto lost his childishness and innocence, became elegant, and at the same time became silent. He continued to grow in his studies, and he also became deeply curious about Lon Ran. I don't know if it is an illusion. Naruto always felt that this elegant and gentle man had another side. He is so unfathomable. I always feel that what I see is not the real side of Aizen. Mr. Aizen, why did you help me? One day, Naruto asked what was hidden in his heart. Aizen appeared in the sealed space inexplicably, and taught himself very gently. If it was before, he would be so grateful, wishing to regard Aizen as his god. But now, he can think instead. There is no absolute selfless help in the world. There must be something Mr. Aizen wants in me. Facing Naruto's question, Aizen showed a smile. Being able to ask this question, it seems that you are no longer the Uzumaki Naruto you used to be. I come from another world, and my purpose is simple. 1. Understand the secrets of ninjutsu through your eyes, maybe it can be my help in the future. 2. Your life is a spice for my boring life. I want to see how Naruto, who escaped from the conspiracy, will treat Konoha and subvert the world. 3. As far as my personal preference is concerned, I hate Konoha very much, because their methods are too clumsy and stupid, so they simply help you. The memory is over. Naruto's mouth curled up slightly. In any case, it is an indisputable fact that Aizen has been kind to him. Without him, I might still aspire to become Hokage now. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 3, I want to be Hokage. Dang, clang, clang. Suddenly there was a knock on the door, and Naruto opened it, and there stood an old man in a red and white Hokage robe, a bamboo hat, and a pipe in his mouth. Konoha is the current Hokage, and the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Good evening, Grandpa of the third generation. Naruto smiled when he saw the person coming, and his tone was full of respect. Naruto, I didn't bother you. Sandai said happily, taking a puff from his pipe. Today he saw what happened to Naruto on the street through the crystal ball. Although it is still hated by most villagers, the attitude of some villagers has greatly improved. I don't know when, Naruto became more polite, and even changed his attire. Kyuubi Jinchuriki's personality and behavior have changed, which is not good news for him. This means that the unknown increases. Thinking of this, Sandai's eyes darkened a bit. But soon restored a kind smile. Third generation Grandpa, please come in. You are busy on weekdays. It is very rare to take time to visit me. Why bother me? Naruto led the third generation into the room and handed him a glass of water. Naruto had a gentle smile on his face and a refined demeanor. For a moment, his face overlapped with Namikaze Minato's. The third generation looked absent-minded for a while, and couldn't help sighing. Naruto, you've really grown up. People will always grow up. I used to be too naive, so I was hated. Now I want to be like the fourth Hokage, gentle and kind. I want to be recognized by everyone and become Hokage. Naruto's words Zhongman is full of vision for the future. Really, Minato is your idol. Sandai muttered to himself, guilt flashed across his eyes. It is clear in my heart. It seems that Naruto was influenced by the book Hokage, and decided to become Hokage like Minato. From this point of view, he has a lot to bear at such a young age. He rubbed Naruto's head distressedly, and said in a warm voice, Naruto, the 3 generations of grandpas will often come to see you in the future, you have to remember that you are not alone, I will always be your strongest backing. So that I can be your only light. Grandfather of the 3rd generation, don't underestimate me, I'm going to become Hokage. Naruto took a deep breath, his eyes full of hope. Grandfather of the 3rd generation, as you said, where the leaves dance, the fire is always alive. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and make new leaves sprout. I want to be that fire, dedicate myself, and ignite the leaves. Naruto's sincere speech moved Midai a little. Minato, Naruto is really exactly like you. Is this your last gift to the village? Naruto, if you need anything, feel free to tell the 3rd generation grandpa. The 3 generations feel even more guilty. Okay, thank you 3rd generation grandpa, there is no need for now, 3rd generation grandpa, you should also take care of your health, don't work too hard, and protect everyone. I am Hokage, and it is my responsibility to protect everyone. Sandai replied cheerfully, taking a puff from his pipe. When Sandai still wanted to chat with Naruto about homework and gain a deeper understanding of Naruto's psychological state, a black-clothed Umbu appeared next to Sandai and whispered a few words. The 3rd generation's expression changed, and he immediately got up, Naruto, I will come to see you next time. Naruto still maintains a perfect smile on his face, apparently accustomed to this scene. For these ninjas, getting in and out of their homes is a breeze. Naruto knew that his life was also under the surveillance of these ninjas. Naruto obediently sent Sandai to the door, watching Sandai's slightly hunched body disappear into the night. The smile on his face gradually disappeared, and his eyes became cold. My performance this time should be very satisfactory to the third generation, and the supplies should be delivered more frequently in the future. Although the third generation didn't come to Naruto's small house very often, they would occasionally send some supplies. The last supply was the book, The Will of Fire. As Naruto said before, where the leaves dance, the fire is also alive. This is the core of the will of fire that Hokage has always advocated. The general meaning is to abandon all prejudices, burn yourself, and take care of the younger generation's selfless dedication. However, Naruto didn't feel the will of fire. He thought he had done nothing wrong, but he kept being unfairly looked down upon and insulted. Everyone can't wait to tear themselves apart. If it weren't for the protection of the Umbu ninja, he might have died. Aizen once taught Naruto, the best way to control a person is to destroy his will first. This is so similar to my own situation. Whenever I feel depressed, the third generation will always appear, coincidentally, to comfort myself and instill the will of fire. What is the difference between such behavior and brainwashing? This makes me how to identify with Konoha, how to identify with the will of fire. Naruto doesn't know what he will do in the future, but now, in order to hide, he will always keep a perfect smile and touch the villagers with sincerity. Thinking of this, Naruto sat down, opened the Will of Fire, and carefully read it at UU reading www.uukanshu.com. This is the 38th time. Only by thoroughly familiarizing yourself with it can you not show flaws in your daily life. True pretense is forgetting who you are. Naruto has started reading The Will of Fire again. At the same time, in the Hokage office, Umbu reported Naruto's movements in time. Naruto, you really inherited the Will of Fire. The third generation blinked and murmured. Danzo heard, Naruto may be the successor of the Will of Fire even better than Minato. Sandai looked proud. It shows that my decision was correct. Humph. In the corner of Hokage's office, a one-eyed old man leaning on a cane and covered in bandages snorted coldly. You are too soft-hearted, Hiruzen. You should give Naruto to our roots, and I will train him into a perfect weapon of war. This is a foolproof decision. It is impossible for Naruto to be handed over to Genbu. He is the only son of Minato. I want to explain to Minato. Confession. Hee hee. Danzo sneered. If that's the case, you wouldn't let Naruto be in such a situation. Raizen, you actually understand that Naruto's home is at the root, and I will train him to be the most perfect tool. Danzo, Naruto is not a tool for the roots. Sandai's face turned cold. Where there is light, there must be darkness, but Naruto will be in the light and inherit the will of fire. Danzo, you have to remember, I am Hokage. Humph, Ri-Jean, you will regret it. Danzo took a deep look at Sandai, and walked away angrily. Hokage, it's Hokage again. The desire for Hokage in my heart expanded again. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 4, Ryatsu Awakening. At night, with the sound of cicadas outside the house, most of the villagers have already fallen asleep. Naruto knew that the ninja monitoring him was still working hard to work overtime. The will of fire is really beneficial to people. He closed the book and sighed exaggeratedly. Arrange the books, wash and go to bed. Ding dong. In the dream, the familiar sound of water droplets woke Naruto up. Naruto opened his eyes, and it was the familiar cold dungeon again. He quickly got up and walked towards the iron gate with ease. Mr. Aizen, here I come. Coming to the iron gate, through the dim light, he saw Aizen sitting cross-legged on the ground. Brown hair and brown eyes, wearing black-rimmed glasses, slender bangs hanging down to the eyes, gentle face, like a landscape. Yo, Naruto, I've seen it all before, you did a good job, you have learned to hide your emotions now. Aizen praised without hesitation. Thanks to Mr. Aizen, without Mr. Aizen's teaching, I am still that stupid Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto sat down in front of the iron gate. I just acted as a push. Aizen shook his head. You are very smart, Naruto. I see in you the potential to subvert Konoha. Me? Naruto pointed at himself in disbelief. This was the first time he had received such a compliment, and he felt a little joyful. Of course, never underestimate yourself, Naruto. Aizen's eyes were deep, and he was sure that there was a terrifying power in Naruto's body that even he dared not underestimate. That power may be the one that Konoha's senior management is afraid of and trying to control, the nine-tailed demon fox. He is looking forward to seeing Naruto's future. Do you want to be the underdog who abides by the rules, or go to the end of the rules? Before that, I will provide Naruto with learning resources and let him develop. Perhaps in the future, he can be his help beyond the boundaries of death. Let's start today's study. Aizen waved his right hand. A few more books suddenly appeared in front of Naruto. These are textbooks for high school students collected by Aizen from the present world, involving not only language and mathematics, but also psychology, sociology and other fields. He wants Naruto to receive an education in an advanced society and open up his mind. Certainly. Naruto was self-taught throughout the whole process, and Aizen didn't have that much thought about one-on-one teaching. He picked up a book at random and read it with a smile on his lips. Although the human beings in this world are weak, their wisdom cannot be ignored. So whenever he has time, Aizen will read books in the sealed space. Naruto didn't touch the textbook on the table, he looked a little hesitant. For a moment, he seemed to have made a decision, bowed 90 degrees to Aizen, and shouted, Mr. Aizen, please guide me how to become stronger. Become stronger? Lon Ran put down the book with a playful expression. Why do you want to become stronger? Because I want to have the ability to control my own destiny. I don't want to be stared at by those eyes anymore. I want to have the power to break everything, and I want to change everyone's opinion of me. Naruto replied without thinking. Is that all? Lon Ran's eyes were full of disappointment. Is other people's opinions really so important to you? Hearing this, Naruto fell into deep thought. Several fragments came to mind. The bullying of the children, the cursing of the villagers, and the hypocritical smiles of 3 generations. Is the approval of others really so important to me? The former self was insulted, but at that time, he felt that as long as he became Hokage, he would be recognized by everyone. So you have to keep working hard and try your best. But looking at it now, how ridiculous I was at the time. Konoha wants to control herself. In their eyes, what is he? In fact, they don't see themselves as part of it at all. Naruto couldn't help but clenched his fists, his eyes were full of anger. He raised his head, his eyes determined. I want to have the ability to break everything. I want Konoha, no, the whole ninja world respects me, even fears me. Afraid? It's still not enough, but at least it's interesting. If that's the case, then I'll help you. Lon Ran stood up, her slender figure carrying a huge sense of oppression. Naruto felt that his breathing was stagnant, and the terrifying pressure made him tremble uncontrollably. Is this not enough? Lon Ran said coldly, took off his glasses, his eyes were sharp. At that moment, the elegant temperament disappeared, and he became arrogant and conceited. It can be said that this is the first time in Aizen's career that he has exposed his true self. Naruto's pupils vibrated, and his body began to tremble uncontrollably. The world I live in is different from the ninja world. Hour of Death is a soul, without a human body. Ryatsu is a unique ability system in our world. The density of a person's soul is called Ryatsu. The greater the density, the greater the power. Every wandering soul in the corpse soul world will have a spiritual pressure, and a few people with strong talents can awaken the Zanpakuto and have their exclusive Shijiyu. You are human, so logically speaking, there would be no Ryatsu. So if you want to forcibly awaken Ryatsu, there will be a lot of unknowns. If you want to gain power, you must have the awareness of death. The entire sealed space shook, and then an inconspicuous sword appeared in front of Naruto. If you already have the consciousness of death, then pick up this knife. Aizen put his hands behind his back and said coldly. The more he understands this space, the more fearful Aizen becomes. In this space, Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com seems to be able to manifest all abilities and items to Naruto. He didn't know which supreme being created this space. Judging from the current situation, this space seems to want to become Naruto's teacher. With this guess, Aizen wanted to verify whether Naruto in reality could gain the same power and become of death. Even fuse the powers of Grim Reaper and Ninja. If successful, Naruto may forge a new path. Aizen's eyes suddenly became hot. In order to pursue a higher level, he did not hesitate to use the body of his colleagues to do virtualization experiments. In the world of corpses and souls, this move is undoubtedly a dance on the tip of a knife. Although Aizen is confident and arrogant, there are indeed existences in the world of souls that he is afraid of. The captain of the Shinigami team, the strongest Shinigami, and the captain of Yamamoto. But confidently, he regards everything as chess pieces, and the layout is like a game of chess. If you are not careful, you will be doomed. Naruto will undoubtedly be a big change for him. In sight, Naruto stretched out his hand without hesitation, holding the Zanpakuto tightly. There was no seething vibration of pain or strength, just a lingering feeling of freshness. Naruto found that there seemed to be more magical power in his body. It's tiny, but it does exist. It worked. Aizen's pupils vibrated, and his heart was shocked. Uzumaki Naruto's whole body was flowing with spiritual pressure. Ling Luo is a form of spiritual energy, which is mostly used for exploration. Only the high-ranking of death can see the spirit channel of the of death is red, and the human being is white. But Naruto's spirit channel turned out to be red and white. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 5, Control of Reiatsu. How strange. Why does Mr. Aizen look so surprised? Early the next morning, Naruto woke up in a daze and scratched his head in confusion. In the past, Aizen has always shown an elegant and confident appearance, as if nothing can make his mood fluctuate. But just yesterday, Naruto saw an unbelievable emotion on Aizen's face. Is awakening Reiatsu something rare? Naruto didn't understand the shock in Aizen's heart. At that time, he asked Aizen for the secret of controlling Reiatsu. But Aizen dismissed him with one sentence: get familiar with the spiritual pressure in your body first. When Naruto left the sealed space, he found that there was a black, ordinary sword on his bed. Why is there an extra sword out of thin air? Naruto held the taidao with his hand. The heart-to-heart feeling shocked him. The knife seems to have life. This is your Zanpakuto. Aizen's slightly complicated voice sounded in his mind. Zanpakuto? Naruto looked confused. Mr. Aizen, how do I use him? He hurriedly asked in his mind, but no matter how many times he asked Aizen there was no reply. Naruto had no choice but to hide the sword under the bed. In Konoha, except for ninjas, they are not allowed to carry weapons without authorization, not to mention that their identity is still a sensitive nine-tailed demon fox. If it is discovered, it will definitely cause unnecessary trouble. After a simple wash, Naruto began to try to sense the spiritual pressure in his body. As Aizen said, Reiatsu is the energy from the soul. After awakening Reiatsu, you should be able to feel the Reiatsu flowing in your body. At that time, he asked Aizen for the secret of controlling Reiatsu. But Aizen dismissed him with one sentence: get familiar with the spiritual pressure in your body first. When Naruto left the sealed space, he found that there was a black, ordinary sword on his bed. Why is there an extra sword out of thin air? Naruto held the taidao with his hand. The heart-to-heart feeling shocked him. The knife seems to have life. This is your Zanpakuto. Aizen's slightly complicated voice sounded in his mind. Zanpakuto? Naruto looked confused. Mr. Aizen, how do I use him? He hurriedly asked in his mind, but no matter how many times he asked Aizen there was no reply. Naruto had no choice but to hide the sword under the bed. In Konoha, except for ninjas, they are not allowed to carry weapons without authorization, not to mention that their identity is still a sensitive nine-tailed demon fox. If it is discovered, it will definitely cause unnecessary trouble. After a simple wash, Naruto began to try to sense the spiritual pressure in his body. As Aizen said, Reiatsu is the energy from the soul. After awakening Ryatsu, you should be able to feel the Ryatsu flowing in your body. Naruto sat cross-legged and felt quietly. However, in less than 5 minutes, he couldn't help scratching his itchy chin, opened his eyes, and twisted his body a little bit impatiently. After sighing, he continued to close his eyes. Seeing that he couldn't sit still, he couldn't stop for a short time. The spiritual pressure comes from the soul. It is colorless and tasteless, so you can't see it clearly, but it does exist. Calm down and clear up all distracting thoughts, so that you can perceive the spiritual pressure. Aizen's helpless voice sounded in his mind. Although Naruto is acting very mature now, his nature is still a child who can't sit still. With Aizen's guidance, Naruto also settled down, closed his eyes and began to meditate according to Aizen's guidance. At first, he was still a little upset, but as time passed, Naruto's breathing gradually became calmer, and his whole body became more relaxed. The sun was high and the birds were singing constantly outside the window, and Naruto was still sitting cross-legged on the bed, motionless. He seemed to have entered a mysterious realm. He can feel and even control his own Ryatsu. Under Naruto's control, Ryatsu spread outward like a large net, from the entire room to the surrounding environment. Everything seemed to be under his control. He could clearly hear his own breathing, the crisp birdsong outside the window, and even those chakras that were hiding in the dark. Different chakra colors outlined the outline of Anbu Ninja. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 Anbu ninjas around the house. They were motionless, like rusty iron men. A few birds landed on Anbu's body, completely unaware that they were landing on humans. But even so, Anbu remained motionless. This is the literacy of a ninja. Naruto continued to explore the usage of Ryatsu as if he had found an interesting treasure. When he wanted to use Ryatsu to further outline Anbu Ninja's face, he felt a strain in his brain. He knew that this was his limit. Stop using it, and a strong sense of fatigue hits. Don't use Ryatsu excessively, take a good rest today. Aizen fell into silence after the reminder. Naruto's talent is even scarier than he thought. In such a short period of time, he can have a preliminary use of Ryatsu. It seems that Naruto has a strong Ryatsu talent. Coupled with his own mysterious power, he may really be able to open up a new power system. I'm looking forward to seeing Naruto who fully develops Ryatsu and ninjutsu in the future. The corners of Lanran's mouth curled up. Perhaps you can become my opponent in the future. The road of the strong is doomed to be lonely. On the road of pursuing becoming stronger, Aizen will try his best to promote the birth of the strong, although he may not be able to enjoy himself to the fullest. But at least it's a little toy. Adversary? Then I'm still far behind. After being affirmed, Naruto was overjoyed. I will trouble Mr. Aizen to teach me how to practice in the future, and I will definitely try my best to become stronger. Aizen hummed lightly. Climb up the pole. Naruto's operation made him quite satisfied. To become stronger by any means is the attitude that the strong should have. Gulu. At this moment, Naruto's stomach made a sound. Looking out the window, he realized that he had been meditating for at least 3 hours. I'm so hungry, let's go to Yao Ramen. Can't wait to cook now. Naruto rubbed his stomach and made a decision. Uncle Yao is one of the few villagers who is kind to him. But Naruto rarely goes to Ichiraku Ramen. On the one hand, I don't want Uncle Yao to suffer from the cold eyes of the villagers because of himself. On the other hand, you don't have enough money. The 3 generations will provide themselves with living expenses every month. These living expenses are only enough to buy some basic ingredients and daily necessities. Although not much, but at least it can be regarded as a love. Naruto walked out the door and said hello to the big tree at the door. Good morning, Uncle Ninjas. The leaves swayed, as if in response. Anbu ninjas have long been accustomed to Naruto's daily etiquette greetings. Then what should you do next? Then shall I go? The leading bear boy sobbed. Naruto's hand gripping the bear's shoulder suddenly tightened. Dao, apology. The bear child suffered from pain and hurriedly changed his words. If you know your mistakes, you are a good boy. Naruto let go of his hand and gave him a look. Yes, I'm sorry. They walked up to the girl and whispered. Speak up, apologize with sincerity. Naruto reminded thoughtfully behind him. The brats only felt their backs getting cold, bowed vigorously and shouted, I'm sorry. Remember, be a good boy. Naruto watched the bear children stagger away, then turned to look at Hinata, showing a gentle smile that was harmless to humans and animals. Are you okay? It was an unforgettable day for Hinata. She walked out of the clan alone, thinking about going to the street to buy some snacks, but was stopped by some brats on the way. Hinata recognized the children. They are a small group in Konoha, and they like to bully other children. They pushed themselves and cursed themselves with vicious words. When she was being bullied, she saw a gentle and handsome boy appearing like a hero, defeating the bad guys and saving herself. The boy was so gentle and his smile was so sunny. I'm sorry. When Hinata heard the apology from those brats, tears flickered in Hinata's eyes, and she looked at Uzumaki Naruto tearfully. That not tall figure was reassuring. Thank you, what's your name? Hinata asked Naruto nonchalantly. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto gently rubbed Hinata's small head. This action made Hinata's face turn red like steam. Remember, kindness is a good quality. But sometimes the easier you speak, the more you will be bullied, and the harder you speak, the more you will not be bullied. Naruto's gentle words sounded in Hinata's ears. I hope you weren't a doormat the first time I saw you. I am leaving, bye. Hinata hurriedly raised her head, but saw Naruto's figure had disappeared at the entrance of the street. She stood there in a daze, with Naruto's words echoing in her mind. Stop being a doormat. Miss, are you alright? At this moment, Hinata's bodyguard asked nervously in front of Hinata. As the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan's family, Hinata would have been accompanied by guards when she went out. But today, Hinata ran out of the clan without authorization, and after discovering it, the clan leader hurriedly sent guards to look for it. As a result, the guards saw a few crying children near the entrance of the street. Yu reading www.yuyukeungshu.com complained while running, damn nine-tailed fox, white-eyed monster. White-eyed monster. This must be talking about Missy. The guards were eager to protect the Lord, and they rushed over quickly, regardless of punishing these brats. Hinata ignored the guards, her eyes stayed on the street where Naruto disappeared. I thought to myself, thank you, Naruto-kun. After today, Hinata's father, Hinata, was pleasantly surprised to find that his previously submissive daughter suddenly became diligent and began to practice Rochuan. He even said to himself, Father, I want to cultivate and become stronger so that I won't be bullied by others. Such a change made Nizu very gratified, and even praised Hinata severely. The other side. The Hinata girl with a weak personality and her escorts, her status should not be low, and she is worth making friends with. Naruto, who was walking on the road, thought secretly. Before leaving, his Ryatsu sensed the ninja approaching rapidly. In order to avoid trouble, he decisively bid farewell to Hinata. During his departure, he also had a face-to-face meeting with the Hinata guard. A young ninja in his 20s also has supercilious eyes. It should be the girl's guard. The Hyuga clan is a wealthy family that rivals the Uchiha, and Baiyen is as famous as Sharingan. It can be seen that that girl can become a very good bargaining chip in the future. Thinking of this, the corners of Naruto's mouth twitched slightly. He has already planted the seeds of becoming stronger for the girl, hoping that she will live up to his expectations when they meet next time. Work hard to become stronger, so that you are qualified to be my pawn. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 7, White-Haired Ninja. Come, have a drink. Done. After eating so many ramen, I still have enough ramen. Hahaha, as long as you like it, guests. As soon as he walked to the door, Naruto heard the cheers and laughter in the shop. It's clearly in full swing. Naruto paused at the door, adjusting the smile on his face to make it more perfect and elegant. Pushing the door and entering the small shop of Yao Ramen, a scent of ramen and warm air blows over your face. After seeing who was coming, the originally lively atmosphere stagnated for a moment, but it returned to the original lively atmosphere. The guests continued to chat as if they hadn't seen Naruto. They all know that hand-punching treats all customers equally. There was once a customer who said that he would not eat in a restaurant with the nine-tailed demon fox, and forced Naruto to go out. Who knew that he was kicked out by hand? Since then, there has been an unspoken rule in Yao Ramen. Venting dissatisfaction with other guests is not allowed. "Uncle, I'm here to eat noodles." Naruto nodded slightly and said with a smile. "It's Naruto, I recently developed a new product, do you want to try it?" Handa smiled boldly. "Uncle, your ramen is already the strongest in Konoha, and you need to develop new products. I'm afraid my purse is too small." Naruto sat down in the most remote seat and said with a faint smile. "Ha ha ha, you still know how to talk. Today I have to show you something." The hand-slapping uncle was full of fighting spirit. Naruto waited quietly for his ramen, and looked at the ninjas and villagers in the shop without leaving a trace out of the corner of his eye. One of the strangely dressed ninjas caught his attention. Long white hair, a black mask covering most of his face, a forehead protector covering one eye, the dead fish eyes exposed to the air are lifeless. It looks very indifferent. Naruto has seen many ninjas, but this white-haired ninja is the only one who is lifeless but has a masterful temperament. But talk. How to eat noodles while wearing a mask? Naruto looked puzzled. As if sensing Naruto's gaze, the white-haired ninja glanced over and met Naruto's gaze. In a daze, Naruto saw the white-haired ninja's calm eyes suddenly tremble, revealing a trace of complicated emotions. That emotion was nothing like the familiar disgust. There is actually a little guilt. Is it wrong? Naruto frowned. It is very impolite to stare at others all the time. Naruto nodded apologetically at the white-haired ninja, then withdrew his gaze, turned his head and stopped looking. It's just that there is a trace of curiosity about the white-haired ninja in my heart. Kakashi withdrew his gaze, stared blankly at the face in his hand, and suddenly lost his appetite. He is a disciple of Naruto's biological father Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato took good care of himself during his lifetime, and taught him all the ninjutsu. But with the passing of Namikaze Minato, his father, and his friends, Kakashi fell into confusion, and has lived alone with his pain until now. He naturally knows the unfair treatment Naruto suffered in the village, but he is just an elite Chunin. He didn't have the ability to intervene, and he didn't try to intervene because of the sinking of the past few years. He frantically accepts commissions, trying to numb himself, but every time he sees Naruto, he still feels a deep sense of guilt. The veins of the teacher are suffering, but there is nothing I can do about it. He took a deep breath, his lips trembling slightly under the mask. Naruto didn't know Kakashi's psychological fluctuations at the moment, he was seriously enjoying the ramen. Put your palms together before eating, and say piously in your heart, I'm going to start. He leaned closer first, smelled the aroma of ramen, and took a sip of the soup, which was thick and fragrant. Then take a bite of pork bone meat, it melts in the mouth, silky. It's so delicious. Naruto immediately ignored the etiquette, picked up the bowl before and started to eat. Seeing that Naruto, who used to be gentle and elegant, was like a hungry wolf at this moment, the smile on Uncle's face couldn't be stopped. This is the greatest affirmation for him. Now that you have filled your stomach, let's start today's practice. As soon as he walked out of Yao Ramen, Aizen's calm voice sounded in his mind. Practice? Can I start practicing? Naruto was suddenly excited. Aizen smiled lightly, I hope you will be so keen on training in the future. Arriving at the most remote area of the training ground, Naruto has already finished warming up. Now that you have Ryatsu and Shallow hit, you are already a prepared Reaper. Aizen paused when he said Reaper, and Naruto's red and white spirit appeared in his mind. Network. Even he himself doesn't know if Naruto is a human or a Shinigami. Or, maybe both. Reaper's fighting methods are roughly divided into chopping, white fighting, Shuunpa and Ghost Way. The most basic of these is white fighting, and it can also be an unarmed combat skill. Slashing is the way of swordsmanship. Shuunpa is moving the body quickly, so fast that it is difficult for the naked eye to catch, so it will give people the illusion of instantaneous movement. The last is the Ghost Way. The Ghost Way is a special spell for the of Death. It is divided into 3 types: breaking the way, binding the way and returning the way. The difficulty of Shuanpa and Ghost Way is too high for you. Lan Ran gave Ming succinctly. The person introduced the 4 major fighting methods. Yu reading www.yuyukeangshu.com. Okay, it's so complicated. But I will definitely master these, and I will work hard. Naruto kept everything Aizen said in his heart. Before you master these fighting methods, you need to lay a good foundation. First, you need to polish your physical strength and strength. Let's run 3 laps around the training ground first. But the next moment, Aizen's words made Naruto stunned. The radius of a training ground in Konoha is about 10 kilometers, and it is difficult to complete 1 lap, let alone 3 laps. What? Scared? Afraid? I'm not afraid. I'll run. Gritting his teeth, Naruto began jogging along the edge of the training ground. No one's success is achieved overnight. The most indispensable thing in this world is talent. Without the accumulation of time, talent will only be wasted. Today is just the beginning, and you will increase the course of cutting skills in the future. Don't worry, the next is the same training. Aizen said gently, but what he said made Naruto complain in his heart. Aizen stopped watching Naruto's training, opened the book, and watched quietly. In the past, in order to become stronger and to overthrow the decadent 46 chambers, he had done devil-style training that ordinary people could hardly imagine. As he said, no one is strong overnight. Talent is wasted without effort. For him, swinging a knife 10,000 times is just a normal day-to-day. But there was one thing he didn't tell Naruto. There used to be countless amazing and brilliant reapers who worked as hard as I did. They thought that talent plus time would make them the strongest, but unfortunately, in front of me, they are all just pawns after all. Lan Ran smiled coldly and said to himself, language. Uzumaki Naruto, I hope you don't disappoint my cultivation, and add a little fun to my boring life. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 8, Shallow Induction, Mysterious Space. It turns out that practice is such a tiring thing. After finishing running, Naruto lay down under the tree like a drowned rat, gasping for breath. His original elegant image has disappeared, and now he is very embarrassed. He didn't fall into the river, it was his sweat. Naruto originally thought that practicing is to learn all kinds of fighting skills. As long as you have talent, learning will get twice the result with half the effort. But I didn't expect that the good foundation that needs to be laid for practice can only be accumulated by time and physical strength. Do you regret it? He asked himself in his heart. No, I have the awareness to become stronger. He shook his head, throwing these disordered thoughts behind him. Human physique is weak, but it is also plastic, and they can have infinite possibilities through training. Aizen quietly watched Naruto's training, his eyes flickering. Among human beings, there are also strong men who can rival the god of death, and they are called Quincy Masters. The essential difference between them and the of death is that the of death constantly improves his spiritual pressure through practice, while the Quincy Master can directly absorb spiritual power from the outside world. This also caused that, except for a very few gods of death with extremely high talents, the strength of most other gods of death is much slower than that of Quincy Masters. This aroused the jealousy of death, but this was not the main reason for the conflict to erupt. The most important thing is their attitude towards virtual reality. The god of death killed Su just to purify his soul and continue to enter reincarnation, and the god of death is transformed from the soul of human beings. On the contrary, the Quincy Master will completely kill a void and destroy the soul, so the behavior of the Quincy Master will destroy the balance between the soul world and the present world, thus leading to the extinction of the Shinigami. Thus, a war broke out between the two. In the battle that lasted for thousands of years, the Quincy Master retreated steadily and was almost wiped out by the of death. In the current world, there is hardly a single Quincy to be seen. Unlike those gods of death who hate Quincy, Aizen is full of curiosity about Quincy. If there is an upper limit to the potential of both humans and Grim Reapers, what about the combination of humans and Grim Reapers? It is precisely because of this that Aizen not long ago prompted the birth of Kurosaki Ichigo, a boy with the blood of Shinigami and Quincy. Thinking of this, Aizen's heart is full of expectations. One is the descendant of the god of death and the Quincy, and the other is a human with the power of god of death and the ninja. I don't know how much surprise they will give themselves. Ninetales Jinchuriki has started to practice. Anbi Ninja reported Naruto's information to the third Hokage in real time. Practice? Why would Naruto think of practicing? Mid-Eye frowned tightly, smoking his pipe vigorously. He took out the crystal ball and began to monitor Naruto's every move in real time. In the crystal ball, Naruto is carrying a big tree. There was soil remaining at the root of the tree, which was obviously pulled out not long ago. It was about as tall as Naruto, and at least 50 caddies walked up it. Looking at Naruto, who was struggling, but still working hard, Sandai's eyebrows twitched wildly. Looks like I have to do something. Naruto originally thought that this kind of self-mutilation practice would cause damage to his body, but strangely, after one night, his sore body returned to normal, and he was still alive and well. My resilience is different from ordinary people. Naruto thought. With this layer of protection, Naruto continued to maintain high-intensity training. At first, there was some resistance, but the training was just like pushing iron, sore, painful, and I fell in love with the feeling of overdrawn body. But in one night, the 3 generations arrived unexpectedly. Naruto, how are you doing? I forgot to give you living expenses when I came last time. Sandai put a wad of money on Naruto's desk. 3 generations of grandpas, that's too much. Naruto simply counted and looked surprised. This time I got at least 50% more living expenses than before, and I can buy a little better food this month. Take the extra part as the pocket money that Grandpa gave you. The 3rd generation blinked at Naruto, and the two of them looked at each other with ghosts and smiled. 3 generations, it's really easy to control. Naruto, hee. At this time, Sandai pretended not to notice Naruto's fatigue, and asked with concern, Naruto, why do you look so tired? I've been practicing for the past few days, and I've consumed a lot of energy, Naruto replied. The two of them followed this topic. Why do you want to start practicing? Because you can only become Hokage if you become stronger. I want to have the power to protect everyone. Hearing Naruto's textbook-like answer, Sandai's heart was touched, and he took a few puffs of cigarettes, but soon realized that Naruto was still a child, so he put down his pipe, feeling quite emotional. Naruto, you have really grown up. Maybe it's the environment, because I'm eager to be recognized, so I think a lot. Naruto became a little depressed for a moment, but soon raised his head, showing a sunny and warm smile. I believe I can become Hokage. If you need my help, just ask. The 3rd generation promised. Naruto also took advantage of the situation to ask for learning sword skills and chakra. You are already 4 years old, and Yu reading www.yuyukeangshu.com has reached the age of refining chakra. I will ask Umbu to send you basic books, but why do you want to learn sword skills? Ninjas are good at using kunai and ninjutsu. There are very few ninjas with swords. A few days ago, I saw a description of Baifeng in Konoha Heroes. I think that as long as the sword is superb, it can also play a key role in the battle. Naruto replied immediately, who was prepared. Why do you have to use swordsmanship? As long as ninjutsu is used properly, it can also be lethal, and it takes a lot of time to practice swordsmanship. Actually, I think the sword technique is very cool, so I want to try it. Naruto scratched his head embarrassedly. Children of this age still want to be cool and strong. Sandai remembers having similar thoughts when he was a child. Seeing a very handsome attack style, I wanted to learn it, but I chose to give up after trying it. I believe Naruto will give up soon. So the 3rd generation readily complied with Naruto's request. After Sandai left, Naruto closed the door and took out the Asahi under the bed. The pitch-black, unremarkable surface of the shallow strike glowed with a cold light, like a sword waiting to see blood. Asagi is the form of Zanpakuto before it awakens, and it will only awaken after the communication and combination of the of death and the spirit of the sword. Aizen said at this time. Sword spirit. What is that? Naruto looked confused. Awakening Zanpakuto. Naruto stroked Asada, and there was a slight connection with Asada again from the bottom of his heart. This feeling is... Naruto's eyes widened, the palpitation of heart-to-heart connection was so familiar. Suddenly, a strong sense of tiredness hit Naruto, and Naruto felt his eyelids sink, and he leaned against the bedside and fell into a deep sleep. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 9, the name of the mysterious man, Zanpakuto. In the dark. There was a fire in the distance, and Naruto woke up suddenly, only to find that he was in a magnificent palace. An exquisite throne stands alone high at the far end of the palace. Filled with a lonely, deserted atmosphere. This is where... Naruto was confused. In the past, I would come to the sealed space after falling asleep, but this time it was a strange scene. Why do I keep getting this weird thing? Naruto couldn't help complaining. You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. At this moment, an ethereal and dull voice echoed in the space, and then a figure shrouded in black shadow appeared beside the throne. The man is wearing a black robe and a hood. The face was covered by shadows, making it impossible to see clearly. He stood upright on the edge of the throne, and he felt a little respectful. Could it be the illusion of ninja? Naruto's heart shuddered. Perhaps because he started to practice, the third generation was worried, so he sent his subordinates to test himself with illusion. Probably. I can't show my flaws. The cautious Naruto spoke first. Hello, where is this place? This is your kingdom. As the words fell, the originally lifeless palace glowed with vitality, and the entire space began to boil, and the stars spread, drawing a bright starry sky scene. Just when Naruto was surprised, he only felt a blur in front of his eyes. The next moment, he saw a black shadow appearing beside him, elegant and respectful. Naruto took a step back warily. His eyes stayed on Sombra's face. The strange thing is that even if they face each other at close range, Sombra's face is still shrouded in shadow, making it impossible to see his true appearance. Who are you? Naruto felt a sense of intimacy from the black shadow. This is not illusion, not the temptation of the third generation. For some reason, he suddenly believed in it. Hearing Naruto's question, the black figure bowed respectfully to Naruto. I am the deepest power in your heart and the power you long for. I am your most loyal and reliable help to the cloud. Power? Is it as powerful as Mr. Aizen? Naruto asked. When the words fell, Naruto saw the black shadow tremble, and his tone was full of disappointment. Aizen? It turns out that for you, his power is powerful. It seems that the time has not come yet. The ravings of the black shadow echoed in the space, rustling. Remember, I am the only one you can trust, and I will be the sharpest blade in your hand, cutting all obstacles in front of you for you. You can call me. Hearing the whispering voice in his ear, Naruto's consciousness gradually blurred, the man in his sight became farther and farther away, and his voice became indistinct. When his consciousness was plunged into darkness, a sentence rang clearly in his ear. Flowers in the mirror and moon in the water. When Naruto woke up again, he had already returned to the house, and the candlelight was flickering, reflecting his cloudy and uncertain face. Just, what happened? Flowers in the mirror. He held his head in confusion, and Shienda slipped from his side and fell to the ground. The blade is dark green, smooth and sharp. This is not the original shallow hit. Naruto held the transformed Zanpakuto in astonishment. An unprecedented feeling welled up in my heart. A mysterious introductory language emerged in my mind, crack it, it's a mirror image. In the early morning, Naruto woke up from his sleep. In a daze, he touched the Zanpakuto next to his pillow. The cold knife handle lifted his spirits, and he got up without any sleepiness. Flowers in the mirror, moon in the water. He muttered Zanpakuto's name, and rubbed his temples with a headache. After Zanpakuto awakened yesterday, he felt exhausted and soon fell asleep. This time, he did not go to the sealed space, and it was already morning when he woke up again. Mr. Aizen, my consciousness entered an unknown space yesterday, and I was told the name of Zanpakuto. Naruto raised the dark green Zanpakuto, trying to communicate with Aizen. Have you mastered Shijiu? Aizen's tone was full of suspicion. The first solution is the first stage of Zanpakuto's liberation. The Zanpakuto after the initial solution will have unique abilities. Ordinary gods of death need at least 10 years to master the initial solution. As for the second stage of the swastika, it is an area that ordinary gods of death cannot touch. It seems to be. Naruto said uncertainly, it seems to be called the mirror flower and the water moon. Flowers in the mirror. Lon Rant's pupils vibrated, and then fell into silence. No matter how Naruto called, he didn't respond. In the sealed space, Lon Ran covered her face with her right hand, and the corner of her mouth suddenly curved strangely. Sure enough, as I thought, Naruto can use my power. I didn't even notice it. The spiritual pressure is still the same, and there is no abnormality in the body. Could it be that this is a replica? Deep laughter echoed in the sealed space. All of a sudden it's fun. After a simple wash, Naruto prepared a hearty breakfast for himself. 2 fried eggs and a piece of dry bread. In view of training, he urgently needs supplementary nutrition. After enjoying breakfast, Naruto went out and walked towards Konoha's weapon shop. He needs to forge a knife and carry weights. Hello, uncle, I need to make a dark green knife and a weight. Naruto came to the weapon shop and said gently. The weapon shop is in full swing, and the apprentices are working hard to forge. The blacksmith uncle raised his head, his upper body was bare, and he wiped his sweat with his dark palms. Reading www.bukanshu. Calm frowned and took the sketch drawn by Naruto. By the way, this is the weapon purchase license given to me by my grandfather of the 3rd generation. Naruto took out a license from his arms. Civilians in Konoha cannot buy weapons arbitrarily, they need to obtain a license. These things. Uncle Blacksmith quietly looked at the sketch, and pondered slightly. The weapons of Konoha ninjas are similar, nothing more than shurikens, kunai, detonating charms, etc. Very few ninjas will issue commissions for forging swords, these are not technical tasks. It's just that why did Naruto buy these things at such a young age? Uncle Blacksmith looked at Naruto inquiringly, but nodded without asking. Not chasing after customers' secrets is basic professionalism. No problem, pick it up in 3 days, please pay the deposit first. Open the door to do business, he has no reason to refuse Naruto's lucrative commission. That's troublesome. Leaving the weapon shop, Naruto walked towards the training ground. The blacksmith stared at the sketch in a daze, and muttered to himself, this knife is so long, it's strange, why did he order a 20 kilograms load, can it really bear it at such a young age? He patted his head for a moment, and suddenly said, what am I thinking, he is a 9-tailed demon fox, he must be different from ordinary people. Arriving at the training ground, Naruto began jogging around the training ground. Every time the adrenaline surges, the thrill of breaking the limit is so addictive. The sun rose 3 poles from early morning to noon, and the exhausted Naruto sat under the tree sweating, panting heavily. Shwa, shwa, shwa. Suddenly, the surrounding bushes made a sound. Who? Under Naruto's call, a young man with thick eyebrows walked out. Konoha, Naruto taught by Aizen Chapter 10, Rock Lee. This is a thick-browed boy wearing a black vest with an average appearance. If the eyebrows were normal, they would be invisible in the crowd. I'm sorry, I didn't peek on purpose. I saw your training in front of me. It's really amazing. The exposed Lee Rock scratched his head in embarrassment, and then said excitedly. Naruto noticed that Rock Lee's hands were covered with bandages, he was limping even when he walked, and there were even small cuts on his face from sharp objects. The black vest on Lee Luaka's body was washed a little faded, the ninja shoes under his feet were a little worn out, and calluses could still be seen on his bare toes. It is not difficult to see that the other party may be a commoner who aspires to become a ninja and change his destiny. No, it's just daily training. If you want to change your destiny, you have to work hard. Naruto showed a gentle smile and nodded friendly to Rock Lee. Yes, you can only become an excellent ninja through hard work. Rock Lee felt the same way and nodded vigorously. I thought so too. With a preliminary topic, the two began to chat. During the chat, Naruto learned about Rock Lee's life experience. He was born in an ordinary family, and he will be able to enter the ninja school next year and become a ninja. Rock Lee aspires to be a good ninja, so he has been doing some rough training. This is because most of his training was blind, leaving a lot of hidden injuries to his body. Rock Lee's background is too ordinary for Naruto, but Naruto is very satisfied with his willingness and efforts to become stronger. Shaoli, you are the hardest working person I have ever seen. Naruto first praised Lee Rock, and then changed the subject. However, did you know that the direction and method of efforts are more important? Direction method? Naruto, you mean? Find the right direction, and your training can get twice the result with half the effort. Now is the age of development, but I see that you are covered with injuries. Obviously, you have not protected yourself well in daily training, and excessive training will drain your body's potential. Naruto, you are right, my arm often hurts so much that I can't sleep. Rock Lee said with a look of conviction. Rock Lee, who doesn't know how to train at all, can only throw his fists and learn physical skills from fumbling. As for ninjutsu, don't think about it, his family didn't have the opportunity to let him get in touch with chakra in advance. Under the in-depth communication about the training, Rock Lee was even more impressed by Naruto's bearing and elegance. Naruto will give you all the details of any training. Strength training, physical training, many details that made Rock Lee full of question marks suddenly became clear at this moment. He also understands what a scientific training method is. No one's success is achieved overnight. The most indispensable thing in this world is talent. Without the accumulation of time, talent will only be wasted. But if you find the wrong direction of effort, it will be counterproductive. Finally, Naruto said, someone I just taught myself the famous saying yesterday, and I processed it a little later. Thank you, Naruto. Rock Lee was moved. All along, his thick eyebrows and silly training methods have been the object of ridicule by the children in the village, and he will be thrown with stones every time he goes out. He also had doubts about himself, but in the end he gritted his teeth and persisted. Naruto was the first person to share his training method so seriously. Although it may not be absolutely correct, but this feeling, he felt it. Rock Lee bowed abruptly to Naruto, his eyes were full of enthusiasm. Please let me practice with you. Extremely happy. Naruto smiled suddenly. A strong man is destined to be lonely, but on the way to become a strong man, he needs many subordinates. In the training ground, Naruto quietly watched Rock Lee, who kept running. Under the bright sun, Rock Lee was sweating profusely, his face was exhausted, his lips were dry, and his chest was heaving like a broken wind. But even so, his eyes were firm, and his footsteps still did not stop. Naruto looked calm, lowered his head, and carefully evaluated Rock Lee in his heart. He has an ordinary appearance, a hot-blooded and pure personality, and looks easy to deceive. His talent is unknown, but he is definitely a hard-working genius. Naruto, I'm done running. Rock Lee's voice suddenly sounded in Naruto's ear. Naruto raised his head, and saw Rock Lee sitting opposite him, panting heavily. He immediately burst into a gentle smile. Good job, let's do it today, take a good rest, your body needs to rest. I invite you to eat Ichiraku ramen. Naruto patted Rock Lee on the shoulder. Rock Lee, a guy who works so hard. On the way to Yale Ramen, Rock Lee, who was walking with Naruto, also received pointers from some vicious villagers. Look, that boy with thick eyebrows is walking with the nine-tailed demon fox. It's disgusting. It's okay to be ugly, you have no brains. Naruto was used to these vicious words, so he always maintained his elegance and demeanor, but this was the first time Rock Lee heard such comments. He remembered that his parents also said about the deeds of the nine-tailed demon fox. The nine-tailed demon fox is extremely sinful, has a perverted personality, and likes to eat children. But he really couldn't equate the gentle and elegant Naruto with the nine-tailed demon fox. Yu reading www.yuyukeonshu.com. He turned to look at Naruto. Facing those curses that were so vicious that he was angry after hearing them, Naruto responded with a faint smile and apologized to himself instead. I'm sorry, Lee, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be scolded by them, or let's go separately and meet at Yao Ramen. Rock Lee only felt anger and confusion brewing in his heart. Even empathy. Like Naruto, I am the object of ridicule by bare children, but the difference is that adult villagers will also sneer at Naruto. Under such circumstances, Naruto still maintained his elegance, even thinking of himself. How could such a person be the nine-tailed demon fox who was said to destroy the village and commit heinous crimes? So he stood up, eyes burning with flames, raised his fists and roared, "Listen up, you people, Naruto did nothing wrong from the beginning to the end, but you. Before he finished speaking, a rotten egg exploded on his face. He wiped the egg wash with a dazed face. Seeing this, Naruto stood in front of Rock Lee and shouted at Rock Lee. "You go first." Naruto thought that by changing his temperament and the way he dealt with people, he could stop the villagers from venting themselves. It actually worked. But after Rock Lee came forward to express his dissatisfaction, it aroused the dissatisfaction deep in the hearts of the villagers. We all know that Naruto has never done anything harmful since he was born. But he is a nine-tailed demon fox, so he should be cursed and die. You should blame us, not stand up and be a hero. So even Rock Lee was angered by the villagers.